Hi, Desiree.
Hi.
Hi, girl. Welcome to the pod. Thank you for coming to Inside the Industry with me today. I love and I'm so excited to have you here.
Yay. I'm a
Girl,
little nervous.
do not be nervous. You literally have so much knowledge and wonderful information. You've been a working makeup artist for over 10 years in this business. So you have a worlds of knowledge to share with us today, and I'm ready to pick your brain, particularly about TV and film industry, because I know you had told me in the past, you were like, all right, she's kind of my bread and butter, is working on features. I know you do more than just TV and film. For people that know you, obviously had your hand in not only fashion, but movies, commercial, ad work. Like, we could go on, honey. We will not read your resume. It is incredible. But just a little bit, she said. I've just been around the block a little bit. I feel like with an extensive 10 years behind you, it's almost like, how could you not, you know what I mean? Like, dip your hands in here and there things. But when it comes to TV and film for you, what was that like venturing into that particular sector of the industry? Because I know for me, I had to work a lot of indie films, like a lot of indie films to even just slowly start getting my wheels turning and my network going in that way. Was it similar for you, or how did you get into that whole vibe?
I kind of like organically happened.
Did it?
I wasn't really sure what path I wanted to go in my career. Like, I had just kind of always, like, when I tell you I've always done makeup, like, I've literally always done makeup. I definitely was like the dress up kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do anything. Let's just play dress up and I'll paint your face. But like, I had a mentor tell me a really, really long time ago. Well, I shouldn't say like a really, really, like, that just sounds. I had a mentor tell me like once that your career will choose you. And honestly, I truly believe it, because there's a lot of people that like I've seen kind of like have come in like groups, like, there's like people who come up together and then they all start at the same place, but they just kind of like filter away. And it's because I truly believe it. Like, I always wanted to do film, but I didn't think it was possible, but like it just kind of organically happened.
Yeah. Do you feel like for the organic process for you, was it more of like right place, right timing? Do you feel like you were on set, right, and around the right people where they're like, hey, we really like your work, and maybe you were working on a commercial at the time, but that production also did movies? Was it kind of one of those scenarios where like, whoa,
it was kind of like one of those scenarios, but like it's also like I've been really fortunate that there's a lot of people who have given my name to a lot of people.
Totally.
And I can't think, I mean, when people refer me, that literally is like my everything.
Isn't it wild?
If someone wants to work with you and then they're like, no, you want to work with her, and then they give that person your info and then they call you, like, I honestly don't think that there's anything better.
It's like a stamp of approval, and it also makes you feel really proud that, I mean, they don't ever have to. Like, nobody has to refer you.
No, no one has to, ever.
Out of being a makeup artist, you yourself, and we have a Rolodex of contacts that we could go through, it really is like, oh my God, wait, you chose me? Like, for this? You thought of me? You thought I could? It really does. It's really a wonderful feeling to be recognized and being told, no, yeah, you can do this, and I thought of you, and I would love you to do it, and they'd be honored to work with you. You're always like, oh, shoot. It's very humbling to be like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Like, I've just got a call for a movie a couple weeks ago, and it was like an out of the blue, like someone had been following my career for a while, and they were like, I want to submit you for this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, are you kidding me right now?
You know that person?
I had no idea who they were. And like, while I'm on the phone with them, like, I'm like Googling them, like, whoa, this person's like legit.
Wow.
And I was like, how bizarre. Like, you never know who's watching. You never know who is you're talking to at a party. You never know. And I'm like, I know people like, oh, Desiree's fun, or like I have this vibe. I'm like actually like really awkward. Like, I'm like super, super awkward. And I think at some point I just realized, I was like, I can't not be awkward. I think I'm just going to like embrace it. Like when I'm uncomfortable and I'm standing next to someone and I'm uncomfortable, like there was that filter that went away where like, oh, I did say that out loud. I'm just going to say it out loud. I'm sorry. I'm really uncomfortable right now. I don't know what to say.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Do you feel like it's helpful? I feel like though when people are authentic in themselves,
I think if it's like a real and you're not like trying to play it, you know, like because there's been times where I'm like, I don't really know what to do right now, or like I'm in a room and I'm like, there's too many people here for me, or but if you give me a task, if you give me a thing to do and I have purpose in my environment, I'm totally fine.
I feel you on
Like
that.
I'm super fine. Like I don't need to like it could be the smallest thing to like here's a broom and sweep the floor and I'm like, yes, I have a purpose. Like I will sweep this floor and it's gonna be great. Like, oh, you need me to like bag something? Sure, like I'll bag whatever you want me to. Like it doesn't like there's no if I have a purpose in a place, I'm like the happiest person ever.
You're like, I got it, I'm nailing it. And it's a great
I don't care who's around me. I don't care. Like, but like, you know.
No, it's what you need. It's huge as a makeup artist to have that because you're adaptive. You're like a chameleon. You're being told, do it. You're really good at taking, you know, orders.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at following directions.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like though, and I know you've department headed a bunch, when you're in that leadership role, because I can see you and like you're saying with taking directions and being told, I think you obviously have, and I know you've assisted people as well. But when you're a department head, what do you look for when you're setting up a trailer? When you're trying to crew up, do you feel like there's a certain, whether it be personality, you know, that you're looking for? Is it a certain skill set? Is it, what are you looking for when you're pulling people? And like you said, I know we kind of all kind of come up in our own little quads of people.
Yeah.
So do you kind of know the people you've worked with, or?
It really varies because sometimes you meet someone and I think that like depending upon the script, like if you're looking for a specific skill set, like if say it's a period film, like I need someone who can do period makeup. Well, then I'm going to look at people who can do period makeup. If I know someone can't do period makeup, then I might not look at them for that film. You know, I might not call that person and be like, hey, do you want to come join this team? Same with like effects or like, you know, and there's some people who can dabble in everything and that's super, super great. Like when you get into the union, like that's what you kind of need to because you
kind of have a
in the day plane. I mean, day plane's kind of weird right now because of COVID, but like you could jump from project to project and just meld into like what they needed for that day. So your skill set has to be pretty varied. So I do look at that, but also like sometimes it's like personality, like who's in my trailer, who are the actors, like if someone's really loud and I know that they're really loud, but I've worked with an actor before who might be more quiet and like they need that quiet time in the morning, that might not be someone I asked to come on to that film with me. You know?
I hear that.
But I was gonna say something else. So you said something and I forgot.
That's okay. Do you ever? I was curious if you ever also. This might help you get the memory back. But do you ever, when you're working with friends or people that you're used to working, and like you're saying, a job comes up that fit, do it, throw it. I love it.
Yeah, I remember. Sorry. There's also a point that like when you get to a certain place, like when I'm looking for a pool of people, I'm expecting you to know how to do makeup. I'm expecting you to know how to do your job, you know? And I think that we need to be really clear about that because sometimes if you're new, like really, really new, I can't bring you on to possibly one of my projects. I might be able to refer you to someone else on something smaller, but like if you are uncertain in your own abilities and you don't know how to do makeup and you don't know how to do like the job, like I can bring you on and be like, I need you to do this person, this is their color palette, or like here are the notes, or like you know what I'm saying, and I can like I need to trust you. Like, and that's something that I give to a lot of people is I kind of like start out with like I trust you to do this, and like if things go wrong, then you know, like that's a different story. But like there's a level of trust already that I have with you if I'm hiring you. Like
Okay.
I'm not, like, you know, like I'm expecting you to know how to do something.
And does that go across the board? Like, let's say if you don't even know them, is it maybe something that you're just confident in their work because you've seen their body of work, or you know that the caliber of things they've done, so you know pulling you on, even though if I haven't firsthand worked with you, I've
Hmm.
seen it and I know you're capable. Is that somebody that you would still?
Yeah, like, you know, we hold computers in our hands now. Like I can tell a lot by looking at, whoa, I just turned on my flashlight. I can look at a photo and the photo is going to tell me a lot. I can look at your website's going to tell me a lot. It's
Totally.
going to tell me about your personality. People don't realize that. It's
Yeah.
going to tell me about your skill level. It's going to tell me what you've worked on. Like if I can't find your resume somewhere,
Yeah.
you know,
Totally.
like there's all like it's a computer.
Yes. I can find a lot of things
I
on you.
can find a lot of things, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that goes vice versa. Like when I reach out to people, because there's still people I want to work with. I'm
Right.
still reaching out to people.
I
You
feel
know, I'm still connecting with people. There are projects that I want to be on. There are things on my bucket list,
yeah. Yeah.
and there are people who came before me that I need to respect.
Yeah.
Who made it happen for me.
Yeah,
You know,
you're working. I totally hear that. I kind
that
of
makes
back to
sense.
the point you made because I love it. You saying, you know, you might not be somebody that when you're department heading, you really want to be on the job teaching. And I personally have been in positions where I guess I've been lucky in that sense then because I've had some people. I've bold-faced told them though, I'm very candid. When I'm being asked to be on for a job, I'll be like, hey,
Thank
listen,
you. Like, can you just say that one more time? Can you just say that one more time?
very candid and honest on my skill set. I won't
Because
say it. I will be
sometimes,
honest and say, this is something that I'm going to have to learn. Are you willing to have me learn some things on the job? Or
I
no?
think that everybody needs to hear you say that multiple times.
Yeah, it's
Because there's a whole
tough.
nother level that happens, I feel like, when someone is blatantly honest.
Right.
Like, look, I can do A, B, and C, but
Totally.
that thing, I can't do that well.
Right.
Like if you are willing to help me through that one thing
Right.
or that process of learning that thing,
Yep.
I can do all of these other things. But like, you know, like I
Yes.
sometimes and you never know the position that a department head is in. You
Right.
know, like maybe they might have the time where it could, or maybe it's a cool, like an actor who doesn't mind someone like
Totally.
shadowing behind them.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's not always the case,
Not
but
always
like
the
if
time.
you're really honest, like
Yeah.
I've turned down jobs. Like I was asked to do I was asked to do my dream job,
Oh,
and I had to pass on it
mhm.
because they couldn't tell me, because the NDA was so intense. They
Sure.
couldn't tell me what it was, and it was for a specific character, and it was involving some effects stuff, and I hadn't done a full mask by myself in a couple years, and I had to be honest, and I was like, you know what, if
Right.
you're asking me to do a full mask by myself, like head, like
Yeah. No. The
full,
whole get up.
do you know what I'm saying, like a whole piece,
Totally.
I would be a good member of a team, or I can be a duo with someone and we can rock it out. But I guarantee you my speed is not up to par
Hey, I'm just not
to match yours or to match your keys.
totally.
Like,
No,
and you can't fly me across the US to do this makeup and then I show up and I embarrass everybody, including myself there.
yeah. And with
So
that being
I
said,
can't even begin to tell you like the send button when I had to turn that job down, because it was like number 3 on my bucket list. Like I'm not even joking. This was number 3 on my bucket list.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had to give it away. I still feel like I won because I got asked. That's what.
You know what they did approach me. First of all, I definitely had a good bit in the war.
But like,
True.
you know, like I had to be really honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for people to hear, because there's a whole fake it till you make it. But in TV and film, especially when you get on set, like if it's your first day, everybody knows.
Right.
And it's so much easier for you to just be like, yeah, I'm new.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. And
Right.
just suck it up, or like go on and like just do the job that's asked of you, pay attention, listen, like, than to just be like, I'm in here. And then
Yeah.
it's like, dude, what
It's
are you
okay to
doing?
have you have to have a
Like,
little bit of humility, right? Because it's
yeah.
like you can't just, and I agree with what you're saying, the fake it till you make it. Of course, it's like instilled in us because we want to, like you're saying, you had a opportunity come across your desk. You obviously wanted to take it, but what if it was in like 2 days? You know, you didn't have time to maybe intensely practice something or get it perfect. before taking on that job. There's a lot of factors to weigh in on.
Oh,
Like,
and let me tell you that when I turned that job down, the next day I went to my kit and started to pull stuff out and like purposely like found a class and like took a class and like called some friends and was like, can I come into your shop? Like, you know, because the next time that call comes around, oh, you bet your sweet ass I'm getting on that plane.
I'm gonna be ready. I know. Well, that's good though.
Sorry.
Take it to know, okay, it wasn't this time, but I'll be ready the next time. And this time, you can go to somebody who's completely prepared and they're ready to rock.
And I've also followed up with that person and been like, hey, just to let you know, like I am working towards this. Like, here's some images. Here's like some stuff from a class I took. Like, I'm not BSing you.
No,
like, you know. So I think that that's also important, is that you know, you really have to, if you want it, you got to do it.
Go out.
Like there is a like you can like manifest all day long, but like at the same time, like you have to like put some work in.
No, absolutely. And that's the thing, it's kind of like people always say, get to know your department head, research them. Like you said, we have a computer in front of us. Like take the time to see, you know, and people hearing this interview, they'll know, well, Desiree really isn't the department head person when she's running her shit, to having the teachable moments. Like she wants you ready and prepared. And I've been told that too.
Like I'm also like, I'm so down with helping people. I'm so down with teaching people.
But like,
there's also a time and a place. Like there's a time and a place. Like I don't want you standing behind me when I'm like getting someone ready at like 5 a.m. and then being like, why are you using that foundation? Like what brush are you using? Like, and I'm like, no, like this is not the teachable moment. You remember something and we're on set later, or like, you know, there's not, you know, there's like that moment where like maybe I can talk to her about this. And I'm always told people, like, if you have questions, like please ask, but like maybe don't do them, like hold on to it. You know?
Do you feel like etiquette is something that is being more missed nowadays, or do you feel like people are running tighter ships, or do you feel like let's talk about greener people, I guess, coming in, maybe more people that are new to the union, et cetera, et cetera. Are those people, do you feel like the set etiquettes they're coming onto it or feel prepared to be in these environments, or do you feel like it's lacking a little bit?
I don't know. I think set etiquette is different. Really, I think it's different depending on your set. Like I've been on some sets that it's really laxed and everybody, no one cares, you know, like, and it's all just like, whatever, like we're all here. I mean, people care. Don't maybe that was the wrong thing to say.
They don't care at all.
Like you should care that you have a job. But you know, like, and then I've been on really, really like other people's sets that are really tight ships where I'm like, I'm just, okay, I'm here, I do exactly what I'm told, and that's it. And you have to, people talk about this all the time, you have to read the room, you have to feel other people's energy, you have to understand where you are, you know?
It's a part of our job. It
really is. But like this is the thing too, that like I kind of have a problem with, that people don't realize, is that just like every other job, like if you were to work at Starbucks, or like you were to work at McDonald's, or you were to work at a car wash, or you were to work at a hospital or a bank, like there's a chain of command, there's a hierarchy, like there's still like a level of that you have to follow, and working in entertainment is the same thing. Like this is a job. Like whether anyone wants to like realize it or not, like you have a boss, even if it's yourself, you know, like even if you're the only makeup artist there, like you someone hired you.
Totally.
You know, like you still have to like be accountable to someone.
Perform, show up,
you know?
That's not all fun and games.
So like, and whether or not you're like, I fill out a time card. Like there is a time clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, like, there's a time card. There's a time clock. And even if there isn't like a payroll, like I still have to send someone an invoice. You know, like there's still a bunch of like business etiquette and things, and that includes set etiquette that you need to be aware of. Because this is a business. You know, yes, it's fun and it's creative, but like it is a business. And so you have to like go into each job understanding where you're going. Like if it's a music video, if it's a, you know, a theatrical production, or if it's a feature film, like you have to know your environment. And when you get there, you have to you have to read the room and like,
Yes.
can I be really loud in the morning? Is this that place? Or like, are these people, do they need like to ease into their day? You
Yeah.
know, like.
Totally. I know I've talked about it a bunch. It's like, even depending, like you're saying, on an individual level, what that person offers or brings to the table, whether you have a boisterous personality, or maybe you are really loud, and maybe that's worked on other sets. Maybe this set you step onto, you got to subdue it. And I've talked about it a bunch. It's not necessarily being fake or phony or not being yourself, but that's the thing about working in essentially customer service. You have to serve the people that you're there to serve, and whatever works for them in that moment. Like you said, maybe it's a little bit more quiet in the morning and I can get rowdy with you later in the afternoon and yada yada, but it's just knowing and reading that the best, and it is forever changing. And I think that's the biggest thing to get across here, is that no matter what, and no matter how long your career is, no matter what your personality stance is, you really truly throughout your career, especially makeup artistry, it's every day is different, and be expected to have different qualities of yourself come forward and then be subdued.
Every day on the same show is different.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, I can be a department head and we can be shooting for 30 plus days. Every day is going to be different.
Yes.
Like, you know, some days are easier than others because that's what the shoot schedule says. Some days are crazy and I have to hire additionals, you know, or some days are more effects heavy. Some days we're blowing people's heads off. Some days they're getting married. Like, you know, like it's every day is totally different, and you need to be prepared for each day, you know, and you also need to be flexible, because even though you can have something written on a sheet of paper that this is the projected plan for the day, it could change. It could change. I can't tell you how many times my day has changed after I've gotten someone ready. And then they're like, we're sending them back to you. And I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? And then it's like, you got to find out, you know? And
it's truly
part of your job.
Yeah, I think it's hard for people that are really regimen. I need even me, and I'm pretty consistently inconsistent. Like like chaos is cool for me, but when the unknowing, like I'm a planner to the utmost. So when it comes to that, I need a lot of regimen. And so TV and film geeks me out, especially because I'm just in the realm, like you're saying, I'm working my way up to, as far as where I belong. TV and film, I'm a hardcore day player, honey, and that's where I'm sitting. That's where I'm at. That's my level right now. And I'm more than happy, because I need to put in my time. I've been working all my years in Broadway. I have not done this. So I'm at, day playing level, and it's really humbling, and I love it. I'm learning a lot. But it freaks me out coming onto set and me having zero idea as to when I'm getting let go, how long. I don't necessarily, as a day player, you don't really maybe know who you're going to be looking at, because I could be doing background one moment and then be asked to go to the trailer the next to put through like somebody that's a little bit more seen. It's just like all over the place, and it's a cool adrenaline, but I feel exhausted at the end of the day. I don't know about you. Is it like,
the days are really, people don't realize. I've hired numerous people throughout my career, and they're like, I didn't know that this is what TV and film.
And that's the other thing. Some people really,
and I'm like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And it's long hours.
Long days.
And makeup is pre-called. So our hours are longer. So we can be in 2 hours before the rest of the crew in hopes that the actors are ready by the time that the crew, like the first set of actors that they're going to shoot, you know? And like we could have more people come in. Like those might not just be the only people we do all day. And that might not be the only makeup they're in all day, you know? So there's
touch-ups, there's different elements they go through. It's a really strenuous job, extremely rewarding.
I love it. Like my first day on like a real movie set, I was like, oh yeah, I was born for this. This is where I need to be.
You're like, okay, those days I got paid $50.
Well, like the weird thing is like I mean, I remember my very first like indie, and I was like, I get what I don't, no one told me what was going on.
Yeah.
I just was like standing in that environment, and like all of a sudden like my whole life clicked. I was like, I get this.
Yes.
Like I totally get this.
Yep.
And no one told me how to do it. Like no one was there. Like I've had this conversation with a couple of my mentors. Like I had went straight in. I had a career before film and TV in the beauty industry, and I've done all kinds of things in makeup and skincare. And I think that's why my transition was a little easier when I was like, I think maybe like literally like I said, like I think I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And like, I went to makeup school. I'm a huge proponent of going to makeup schools,
Yeah.
especially if you want to work in TV and film.
I am too.
Like,
It's
because
like that round education before stepping into something that might be foreign. Yeah.
Totally. And so I was like, maybe I'll like finally suck it up and like do this. Maybe I don't know things. Well, I got there and I was like, oh, I know a lot more than I thought I did, which was really cool. But I didn't really know how to make effects. I didn't know how to mold. I didn't know how to do a bunch of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I had practiced and just wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars probably in my garage.
Yeah.
and then was like, yeah. And so I went to makeup school after I had been in the beauty industry for about 9 or 10 years.
I've
and
heard a couple people are
small
like that.
break. And so for me, the transition was really easy because when I was done with makeup school, I was like straight, like when I tell you I went straight into department heading, like that's it. So, and it just it all clicked, and that's not normal for a lot of people.
It's not.
Like, and I totally get that. But I had this conversation with one of my mentors, and I remember the first day that she told me that I could help her in her trailer. Like, I helped her set up a trailer, and it was like I helped her prep, and like we got her kit together, and she was like, okay, like can you come tomorrow and help me move into the trailer? And I was like, you know, like freaking out in my head. And I went and I was like, yeah, of course, like just where, when, whatever. And I went, I remember I was so excited. I could barely sleep. And I got there the next day and we started to load in. And I was like, oh my God, I do a lot of these things. I didn't know because I had never worked with someone else, especially someone at her caliber. Like she's like my dream.
Right.
And so I was setting up her trailer and I was like, oh my God, like I have that basket, I have that bag, like I have, you know, I put them here, like, oh, thank God, because there was a moment in time where I was like, because I had been working and literally going from film to film to film to film to film. And actors were telling me all kinds of things like, wow, you're like so organized, or wow, you're this, or wow, you're that. And I'm not used to this at this level, like, or this indie, or like this. And I'm like, what are other people doing?
Are they doing that? Right.
Like, and I was so confused. And a lot of like, I tell you, like a lot of those actors I'm still friends with, like I have encountered because
you had an impact. Yeah.
I had an impact because I was operating, and I didn't realize this, on a higher standard with a lower budget than a lot of people that they were encountering.
Yes.
And so when I went into this trailer and I helped her set up, and it took 2 days to set up her trailer, and I was like, I can't even, the gratefulness I had for that experience, to know that I'm doing something right, or I'm doing something similar, so that the experiences that people are getting with me make sense.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So because
it's like you had that moment of validation, because again, we all have that person, that mentor, that person where you're like, God, I love the way they move, I like their career, or just the status and the caliber in which they work is impressive to you and inspires you. And it is a wild sensation where all of a sudden you're moving through your life, you're working in your career, you're doing all these things that feel intuitive to you, you're building that, you know, whatever way you're moved to either set up a trailer or run your ship, essentially, you know what I mean? And it's crazy that when you see somebody of the greats, or somebody you love so much, doing similar moves or doing same techniques or same setups and tools and systems, and you're like, wait a whole minute, then if they're doing that, well, then I'm doing something profoundly right. But you know, the thing that's, and I don't want to not then just not unvalidate your mentor, but you're crazy, because we sit and we put people on pedestals often, I think, in our community, and untouchable ones at that like, oh, if only, right? Like, oh God, they're all the way up here and I'm so down here. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit to really be like, hey, I know what I'm doing. And it happens.
That was me, like last night talking to my dude. Like, I still don't know why she wants to talk to me.
Yes, like, I'm saying, it pains me. This podcast.
So, like, I just
so phenomenal.
But I've also had the opportunity to work under a lot of people and to assist. Like, I totally, like, don't stop assisting. Like, if anyone wants to take away one thing from anything that I'm saying today, don't
Don't stop.
stop assisting.
Yeah.
Like, I
Look
still
so much.
assist people, like, I still assist, like, friends, like,
Yeah.
and there's been times when people who I have hired as my key, they get, like, their first big job, and they're like, "Would you come?" And I'm like, duh." Like, when
Somebody
I tell
said this
you,
the
like,
other day, we got
that's,
to
like,
do it. Yeah.
some of the the most heartwarming, like, joyous excitement that I've had in my career is when, like, someone that I have been hiring for years finally, like, gets a big gig and they have the ability to hire someone else, and whether it's like a one day or like a commercial or like they need a day player, and they've been like, "Would you do this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, like, to see you be in charge, that's like the greatest."
Yeah.
Like, I like love when people
That come up. It's a
come,
yes.
like,
And
a
it's
lot of
fun
people,
to
like, a
say.
lot of people that I hired surpassed me, like,
Yeah.
like, much quicker, and, like, got into the union much faster than
But
I
that
did,
also
and a
shows
lot
what
of
a
things.
serious teacher you are.
And,
You know?
well, like, that's what someone said, they're like, "Desiree, you're really good at explaining things,"
Yeah.
and, like, if someone's smart enough to, like, take that and, like, run with it, like, cool.
That's a gift in and of
Like, and
itself.
I think that there's been people who are like, "Oh, I, like, left her in the behind," and they have absolutely no idea that I'm still cheering for them.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm literally, like, I'm still
Yeah.
excited,
Yeah.
and
And that's
that,
such a good thing.
like,
That's how
it's
it should be.
fine, like, we don't need to talk, but, like, I'm still in your balcony,
But
like,
I'm still
totally
excited for
cheering for you.
because it makes sense because you were at least authentic when you were teaching or having them under your wing and sharing knowledge and experiences and all of that. Because we all know the people we've assisted that maybe they're not as open. They're more just there to
Mhm,
like keep you where they want to keep you and have an extra hand on deck, and that's essentially all you are. They don't really want to help advance you. But I've been fortunate to know you and a bunch of other people that are very similar in circles that we run in that move that way, that are so open, so
we
clear, and understanding that my job, if I'm mentoring or even just if you think I'm above you in some sense, that one day, like you're saying, I could be assisting you. Every
Mhm,
day, one day I could be a department head, the next day I could be a day player. Yes, there's
mhm,
levels, but we are forever moving, and it doesn't. That's how the industry works because
mhm.
you don't know where people are placed and where they're at, and then if they're needing something or one day they're day playing and then boom they get the call for the head. Okay, well now they're going to look at all the people that have helped them on their way up, hopefully, and people that they
Hopefully.
trust and love, and then they bring on as well, and it's kind of that nice like karma. It's just a very sweet
Yeah.
thing where you're given return.
But we also work in a subjective craft.
Yeah,
So, like, what
totally.
someone might think is good or beautiful or great, someone else might not appreciate that aesthetic. Like,
Right.
technical things are a little different than
Yes.
aesthetic, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And so we also have to, like, expose ourselves
Yeah.
to other people, which is why I think assisting and learning and continuing to take education and classes and all of those things,
So important.
um, you can never stop learning, because everybody does it. We all do the same thing, but we all do it
Do it
differently.
differently. Yes.
Even though we do the same thing, like, even though I went into that lady's, that my mentor's trailer, and
Yeah.
saw that we have similar setups, she still does makeup differently than me. Her
Totally.
process is still different.
Right.
And, like, I'm still learning from her,
Yeah.
and every time that I get a new little tidbit,
Hmm.
it's like, oh my god, like, my brain explodes.
Yeah.
There's also times when I've, like, assisted people and I'm like, oh, that's how they do that, I didn't know you could, I could totally do that,
Right. Right. Yeah.
and if you
Your
don't
Rolodex of tricks and tools. Yes.
yeah, or like, oh, I didn't realize it was that easy, why was I telling myself I couldn't do that,
Right.
you know? So, like, every time you put yourself in a position where you get to learn something, like, you're
Yeah.
gonna grow as an artist, you're only gonna get better.
Amazing. And
Like,
what's true? I think when you're so willing to give that information, there's something to be said about those that give the information because regardless of what you're saying, if we do certain things similar, I don't care if I'm sitting next to you at a fashion show, we are both given the same look. I don't care how close it's about it, there's still something that is slightly different to the way that I'm applying it to then the way you would apply it. So no matter the information that, and I
mhm,
think that's why some mentors or people are just, whatever top shelf artists get
mhm,
scared about sharing information is they're so afraid that somebody's gonna surpass me or do it maybe better than me or whatever. But it's like, but nobody's gonna do it the way you're doing it. So stand
No
tall
one's gonna
to
do it the way you're
your
doing it.
craft, your
But if you have that fear, like I just that fear, I don't know. Like there came up, like I kind of had it, but I realized that like I absorbed it from other people
yeah.
because I had so many people being like, "Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this," and I was like, and I kind of asked myself one day, I was like, but why? Like there's some things that I like get, you know, like like you got to like work for stuff. Like you can't just like expect like the entitlement, blah blah blah, whatever. But like, you know, like you have to, there comes a point where like if you don't believe in yourself, then like what are you doing with your life in general? Like I don't care if it's makeup, I don't care if you're a doctor, like I don't care if you're a lawyer, like I don't care if you're the guy at like the grocery, like what dude, like
you gotta believe in yourself, because if I don't,
I had a great time when I worked at Starbucks. I loved it. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, there's so many times where I'm like, man, sometimes I wish I could go back work at Starbucks. People are like, what? And I'm like, I really had fun. Like I enjoyed it. I still love coffee. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you don't believe in yourself, and like if you don't let go of that fear that what is meant for you is always going to be meant for you, like it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter that people have surpassed me. That wasn't my path.
Right.
Like you can't compare yourself, and you can't be afraid, and you can't, you know, there are like boundaries and things, and again, it's like set etiquette and stuff that you do and you don't do, but it's the same kind of stuff that you do and you don't do in any other job, even if you're sitting in a cube, you know, like it's just have some integrity.
It's like common courtesies. It's basically
it really is like
person. Because
but
like
if you're afraid, then like what are you like that you need to talk to yourself about what you're afraid of. Because like there's been times when people have done really weird stuff on set and I've gotten upset, and then like it's like, okay, well, mental note to myself, like I have to check myself. Like and I don't think people realize that too. Like there's been times when like, you know, we've all had bad days and things go wrong, and I go home and I literally sit there and I'm like, okay, why did this happen? What could I have done better? Like, if this happens again, like, what are the signs that I need to know? Like, how do I identify this? How do I stop this from happening again? Like, I really, like, I only like to make the same mistake. Like, I only want to make a mistake once. I don't want to make it twice.
Depending on the mistake, too, I'm like, oh, never again. I've learned that.
So, like, you know, and so, like, if things, like, I literally go home and I will sit there. And I will sit there and I'm like, I will try to like work through it and be like, okay, like what,
I'm very,
you know, there's a learning moment here for me that I need to be better
you have to hold yourself accountable, because like you're not always right, and it's not always someone else's attitude, someone else did this, someone else did that. No. And a lot of the times, even if somebody is doing something, you're still always responsible for yourself and how you act and move.
Yes, but that's also the difference between being a key and being a department head. I am responsible for everything that happens in my department. And if you're not willing to take the responsibility, like people have done really weird things in my team, and then I get pulled in to the last thing I want to be is pulled into the PO, and someone's like, yo, your girl or your boy over here, are you aware? And I'm like,
no. It comes back to
not what I want to be dealing with today, you know? But then again, like that's part of the responsibility of the job is you have to take responsibility sometimes. You have to take ownership of some things, because, and I kind of like, I think that this has been instilled for me from like when I was a little girl, because my father was like grandpa age by the time I was born. So like there's a lot of like weird things that I don't know that I like do or have, but like he used to always say like the buck stops here, you know, and like it is, and it's like such an old saying, and like, you know, I think was Truman or something who had that.
Oh God, don't quiz me. No.
His like, and but it's true, like that's the thing with me being a department head, like with my department, like the buck stops here, like it's here, you know. So like if but that also goes both ways. If you mess with my people, you mess with me.
Right.
Like the buck stops here.
To be honest, Desiree, that's huge that you say that, because that's also another thing I don't think a lot of people talk about. It's, you can create a really wonderful team. You can crew up really amazingly. You can stack your trailer with some of the best artists, wonderful etiquette, you know, move great, get hired all the time, blah, blah, blah. But then there's another thing when then some stuff with just production, not even your team, outside of your team, starts getting wild and funky and inappropriate, or, you know, just how they're being treated, et cetera, et cetera. But your team's a tight ship. But then the production's going buck and going nuts. And you're like, okay, well, I can't let my crew or my people get treated like this. So you're that voice to fight for us and make sure that then we're getting taken care of, whether that be play, environment. I mean, the list could go on, but I've seen it sometimes where it's like, there's just no fight for their team. There's no fight for the artist. It's just like, is what it is, deal with it, smile and grin. And I'm like, oh, but I don't like this, or that's not something that I would be cool with. But you can't then step over that, you know, boundary or that line, because you're not in the position to. It's not my show. It's not my department. So you just kind of pick and choose. But it's a great thing to be said, and I think to know and be heard, because like you're saying, it is your responsibility. You do want to take care of these people and fight for them and make sure that across the board, even if you guys are on tight, so is production, how you guys are getting treated just out there in the field when things are going down shooting wise, like 100%. And I think it's super valid to be heard. And I think, I mean, barely has happened to me. I mean, everyone, it's a big industry. So people talk.
I had an actress tell me once, and I literally looked at her and I was like, I will accept this compliment. But it was like a weird thing. Like we had a like a shooting change, like schedule change thing that happened like first thing in the morning. And it literally flip-flopped our day. And so I had prepped a bunch of stuff before I left, and I was kind of upset. But you know, like there's nothing you could do. Like that's how the day is going. And so I remember like talking to the AD and being like, okay, well, I can do this, this, and this. This is my time frame for this, and like breaking it down. And I looked at the girl who was my key, and I said, I need you to do A, B, and C. Like, go do that, and then I'm gonna take care of this. And I sat, and the actress was sitting in the chair, and she kind of like was, because she also had to know that a change was coming. Right. So like she was there when the AD was like explaining this to us, and so we all started getting ready, and I was like, okay, and like I took a deep breath and like, you know, went to start her makeup, and she was fine. And I remember like I had just finished her skincare, and she goes, you know, Desiree, you're tough but fair. And I was like, oh,
thank you.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. Thanks.
That's such a good compliment.
I was like, okay. I'm like, that's so weird, but sure.
No, but that's good, and it's true, because it's like I don't know, like you're saying, you just take care of your people, and I think it's a really important thing, and to know that we're all.
I truly believe that you need to,
but it does go back on you. So as long as you're making sure, then hey.
Like I believe that you need to treat people the way that you want to be treated. Totally. Like it doesn't, like I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. Like I just, you know, but like I truly believe it. Like if I'm not getting paid and someone could do something about it, you know, like do something about it.
No,
like you know what I'm saying? Like if you're like
ask, you never know until you ask. And I've been told a lot of times in my career, don't ask, don't do that, that's rude, or don't do. And I'm like,
but if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Right.
If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Exactly. No, and I think you just have to. You got to see, hey, maybe they can cover.
Maybe that's where my awkwardness comes in, because I'm like, I'm just gonna ask.
And they're like, oh my god, why is she asking?
Really, like but also, like no is not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And now I know, once it's a no, okay, like, great. And then maybe there's still room to negotiate, and maybe there's
like business. Sometimes no, I don't know, but also again, there's that fear, like people are afraid of the word no. Like why? You're not any worse off than you were before you asked.
Right. Like, there's nothing more. I think that's the best thing they could say, or the worst, like you're saying, is no, and that's not all that's.
But also, if someone says no, you know exactly where a boundary line is.
Exactly.
So like you actually have more information than when you started.
Exactly. But I do also want to ask you, what is something that you wish somebody told you about at the beginning of your career that maybe somebody didn't tell you at the time, that then you found out and you're like, dang, I'm going to pass this on to people because I wish I knew before stepping in? Is there any like little gem or token somebody kind of bestowed on you?
I feel like we talked a lot about it already. Like, let go of the fear.
Yeah, that might be
the of I maybe, and either like embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe if you know you're afraid, like, and you feel
find ways
like
to work through it each day.
Sometimes, see, again, it's like reading the people. Like, sometimes you might need to tell like the guy at the gate, like, it's my first day, I'm really scared, I just had to tell someone thank you, and like you move on, and like, or like, but like, just don't be so afraid. Like, what's for you will always be for you, and you can't do anything to change that.
I love that.
Unless you choose to not take it.
Yes, that's really well said. And my other little question of you is, tell me, what is one of your proudest moments that you've had in your career thus far?
Proudest moments that I've had in my career.
I know. That was always a tough one. Any moment? No aha moments? Desiree, you've worked so long.
There's like an aha moment is different from like I'm proud of something. I'm still really critical of my own work. I look at my own work and I'm like, I could have done that better. I can always do better. Always.
But with that said, as a friend looking on the outside, you gotta have those moments where you just go, damn, I'm the shit.
Okay. Wait, I did do something. Now that you just said that, I did do something. So I shot this, it's like I don't know, it was called Wireless. It was like a movie TV series thing for Quibi. It was really, really, really cool.
Incredible, yes.
And we were in Utah, and it's about a young boy who gets kind of like trapped in an avalanche on New Year's Eve. And the makeup progressed from like him being like, I'm going to a New Year's Eve party, to basically like, I'm just about died.
Yes.
And there's this one moment in the movie, and it's all, part of it is shot on cell phone. So it was meant to be seen this way or this way. So like that's what that whole
is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and then was shot also on like a moving camera. And one of the ads that I saw that came through, it was the scene where the kid is Ty Sheridan, he's the actor who is in this movie. He is phenomenal. I mean, he's a wonderful person, and he's really, really good at his job. You just watch his movies. He's on his cell phone, and he's basically like, it's his last words, like kind of like, if you get this, tell my mom I love her. And he looks tore up
in the best way.
I saw the ad come through, like I saw the promo because I was like, I follow Quibi, and so I saw it, and the one day like I happened to be on Instagram, and because I've been like super MIA, like I'm so shocked you even called me, because I think people think I'm like, I like have like disappeared. I'm totally still here, but I'm also super head body, and I think that people know that. So this comes across my feed, and I was like, he does not look good. And then I was like, oh shit, I did that. I was like, I did that.
See, those are the moments. I love that.
And I actually sent it to Julia Dalton Brush, who owns B3. We're good friends. And I sent it to her, and I sent her the thing, and I said, I did that. And she was like, yeah, you did. Like,
yeah, you did. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Okay. But like, because I was scrolling, and like I saw it, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, and then like my brain registered what it was, and then I watched it, and I was like,
that's a cool moment.
Okay, cool.
Yes, and you were validated by it, and you're also like, first of all, this.
Yeah, but I have to be honest. I think that's the first time that's ever happened to me.
Well,
like in anything I've ever done.
Let me tell you continue to have more of those moments, Desiree, because you have to be proud. You have a phenomenal career.
I'm okay. I'm just okay.
No, I'll gas you up. I don't care. You don't need to. I'll sit on the sidelines and gas you up. I don't care. But I love it. I love all you do. Thank you so much for sitting with me. It means the world to me. You shared
Oh, you're welcome.
a lot of gems.
It means I don't think people realize too, like, I met you when you first started.
Yes, it was like a baby.
And like you had just graduated from the Makeup Forever Academy.
Yes, 1,000.
And they flew you to LA to do something at the LA IMATs.
Yes.
And I still have that picture that I took of your body makeup. Like, I still have it. Yes. Like, I was like, whoa, she's like really good.
Oh my
God. So for me to see, I have to like gas you up now, because like for me to see, but like you're one of the few people that I have seen from the very, very start and keep going. And it's been really a pleasure to watch you grow as an artist, and you're very talented and you have beautiful technique, and I love that you're doing this. I mean, like when I saw that you were doing a podcast, like, I sent you that message. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you.
I was like, yes, 1,000% Well, this is like, thank you for saying all that.
Yeah, like,
I love this.
Kind of cool.
It's a really cool moment for me to even just have and be able to sit and talk with people that I met way back when, or amongst and throughout the career. It's been really, I love hearing people's journeys. I love getting to talk about them and their experience. To me, that's like, and was always the coolest thing for me to do while I was on set, to be honest. Love doing the makeup, but I love the people more. So this is
highlight. If you don't like people, I don't think that you should be a makeup artist.
I really don't think that's for you. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that. I might get in trouble for it. I don't know.
You should probably stop playing on people, I think.
Yeah, maybe you should not, because you're gonna have to deal with every single type of person ever. Ever.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have to love them all. Like, even the ones that you maybe wouldn't be friends with in real life, like, you still have to love them, because they were sitting in your chair and they deserve your love.
And and like you said, it's a job, honey. So you got to do what you need to do. Your job is to make them feel comfortable. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Look good and feel comfortable. Well, Desiree, thank you again. I cannot thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to tag all her things below, guys. Follow, keep
up. Yeah, don't do that.
No, I am, but it's already here. And I can't wait. Follow Inside the Industry, guys. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye, girl.
Bye.